Today, on Beyond,
You're scared. You were scared.
this woman has to face her fears and the shock of meeting her deceased father. How will James find a way to help? But first, et voila. Juliet Mills plays a 300-year-old witch on the NBC daytime drama Passions.
She was burned at the stake, you know, back when.
Juliet was born to the stage.
My father is Sir John Mills, who's a marvelous actor. My mother is a novelist, and my sister Haley is a very well-known actress.
But Juliet has her own passions about the beyond.
I'm here today to try to reach my father's sister, Annette, who died many years ago, but I've always felt her very close to me, and I've been told many times by different psychics that she's one of my guides.
She would also love to reach her 20-year-old co-star, Josh Ryan Evans, who died earlier this year.
He was a darling little fellow. It was very sad and shocking when he suddenly left us. Josh and I worked together for 3.5 years on Passions, very closely, and I loved him. I was very, very fond of him. He was a little devil sometimes. I mean, he used to come on the set in the morning with this hat on that said Grumpy, and he was.
Using his extraordinary psychic ability to communicate with spirits, he's transformed lives by unlocking mysteries and sharing secrets from the other side. James Van Praagh, best-selling author, renowned medium, and your connection to the world beyond.
Hi, Juliet. Nice to meet you. I'm a
Lovely
very
to
big
meet
fan of
you.
yours for many, many years, so this is very nice
you,
to
James.
finally
Thank
meet
you.
you in person. That's
you.
great. And we'll just see what we can pick up for you, okay?
All right.
All right. First of all, let me just go on here and just... I see a beautiful garden around you. Whether you wanted to change the garden recently and there were some plans about changing it and hadn't gotten to it yet?
Yeah, I'm a gardener and I garden all the time.
Okay. There's a lady here, I feel a grandmother feeling here, okay?
Yes.
I want to say mother's side of the family. Did you know
Yes.
her very well?
Yes.
Okay. And she's talking about your garden. So she's the one talking about the garden, okay?
Yes.
And I want to put either a bench in the garden. I don't know if there's a bench now or a place to sit in the garden.
Yes, there is.
Okay. I don't know if you were thinking of replacing that or moving that around.
No, I wasn't. But
No? She wants to go to this area where that bench is.
Yes.
And she's talking about redoing something with this garden, okay?
Yes.
Yes. Is there anyone named Robert that you would know of?
Robert.
Or Rob?
No. Not that I
Not that
can.
you're aware of?
No.
Okay. I keep looking at his grandmother very, very strong here. She's also talking about a drive or a driveway. And I'm not sure if there was going to be a change in the driveway. I know it sounds very, very weird, doesn't it?
It does,
Are you in two places at once? Do you live in two different places?
Well, no, I mean,
No?
I live here, but...
But do you have a place in England also, or no?
Just my parents' house
the
that I
parents.
visit all the time and
Okay.
I'm about to visit.
Oh, okay. I don't know if there was an Anne somewhere.
Yes.
Who is that, please?
That's my father's sister, Annette. She was very close to him and died many years ago, but...
She wants to be
very-
known to you. Okay? These people, and it's very interesting, Juliet, because I would say to you in a very good way that your house is haunted. This Annie or Ann person is coming in very strongly. Her husband passed over too, please?
Yes.
Because I'm just
Yes.
connected with the
Now,
husband.
that would be Robert.
There's the Robert. Okay.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
there's
But
the-
I never knew him.
That's
so-
okay, it doesn't matter.
Yes,
Yeah,
right,
it doesn't matter.
I see.
But that's the Robert then too. So they're here just to say hello to you. I want to ask you, this room that you have, I mean, throwing things all over the place
Yes.
here. Now I know that there's a separate room where you have, there's an upstairs, downstairs in your
Yes.
house? Because I want to go to another room, and I don't know if there are, I'm going to call it workroom maybe. Is this the room that has all the pictures in it?
Yes,
Okay, because I see a wall of pictures.
yes.
Okay,
yes.
I love that. The memories on those pictures are priceless. There are some people in those pictures who've passed over, and can't go into specifics because I'm not getting them all, but there are a lot of them.
Yes.
And I even think with You've done theater. Of course you've done
Yes,
theater.
yes.
Because I'm seeing theater pictures
Yes,
there in that room.
you are.
Okay.
Yeah, my Rhodes Gallery.
It's your Rose Gallery. Okay, sweetie. Okay, that's great. But I tell you that there are people that come in whose pictures are on that wall, and they know about it, and they're aware of it. Who did Shakespeare in your family? Did your father ever do this?
He did a little, but
Who did
Laurence
Shakespeare?
Olivier.
Okay, and is he, Laurence Olivier, is he on that wall, please?
Yes.
Well, he's the one who's coming in to say hello.
Oh,
So Laurence Olivier.
wow. Yeah, he
Yes.
did Shakespeare.
He did Shakespeare, didn't he? He knows that. Well, I want to ask you if his picture is in the center of the pictures. One of the center or the lower?
Yes,
It
yes.
is. It's in one of the lower rows
Yes.
of pictures. He said, I'm in the center there. And he wants to thank you for having him in your room. Isn't that amazing?
It surely is.
It's good. That's good. You know, I'm going to tell you that Sir Lawrence, I'll call him that over here. He's joking. He has a very good sense of humor.
Oh,
And not many
yes.
people knew that about him, he says to me. He goes, not many people knew I had a sense of humor, but you do. Juliet does. I know you're going to be doing theater again. I'm being told this from Sir Lawrence over here. But you will be doing more theater. And yeah, he's funny. Some of the things I can't even say. That's just embarrassing.
Yeah, he was quite rude.
Yes, he was. Who was Ryan?
Well, my son's middle name is Ryan. I don't know. I don't think I know another Ryan.
Did you work with someone with that name?
Oh, Josh. Yes, Josh.
Josh.
Josh Ryan Evans.
Josh Ryan.
Was my
Co-worker?
co-star in Passions.
The reading with James will continue in a moment. Plus,
One is very domineering, one is very tough, and the other one is much sweeter than that one.
I didn't know one of them.
Okay, well, which one did you know? The strong one, did you know?
The strong one I knew.
Yeah. No way to miss her.
her overbearing grandma is up to her old tricks. Will she make more trouble for this woman's family? Coming up later on Beyond. Actress Juliet Mills was delighted when James connected with her friend and co-star on Passions, Josh Ryan Evans. Josh died just 5 months ago. The reading with James now resumes.
He's a little guy, the little guy.
Yes,
Oh,
my
okay,
little,
okay.
my little tiny friend.
Okay. He's come here to be with you, and it's something about you would not do this without him. Or he goes, you couldn't do this without him, because he said you and him used to talk about these things all the time, about paranormal things, about psychics, and he's fascinated with it, and so are you. And he said, stories about this sort of thing.
Yes.
And he said, and here we are, it's real, it's really happening. And he said, I got you. He wouldn't have missed the occasion to do this with you and to let you know that he's around. I do feel sickly before he passes. I do feel a bit sickly before he passes.
He wasn't well.
Okay, and I do feel he was more pain than he let on.
Yes, I'm sure that's
I
true.
do feel that. I feel he was a lot more pain than he let on. He's telling me he knew he was going to pass over.
Yes, I
he was
believe
waiting for the day.
I believe that, yes.
He's talking about October. I don't know if something happened in October, or is he's associated with something in October. But it's about October.
I don't know.
And the 12th. He says the 12th.
The 12th of October.
So I don't know what that means, but
I don't know.
please keep that. 'cause I don't know.
Yes, I will.
He wants to thank you for the prayers you sent him too, because you sent him prayers.
Yes.
And he wants to thank you for that. And one more thing I want to ask you about. The name sounds like Clark.
The name?
It was Clark. I'm not sure if it's the last name Clark or first name Clark. And I'm not sure it's associated with your dad.
Well, there was his stand-in, his best friend through all his movie years was a man called Freddie Clark.
Okay, because I want to acknowledge the Clark to your father.
Oh, my goodness.
And would you please give the message to your dad?
I will.
That he came through just to be hello and acknowledge and say thank you and just be acknowledged.
I will tell him that. He will like that a lot. Yeah, because
Okay.
he's 94 and he's looking ahead to what, you know. So any help he can get is wonderful.
All right, there we go. Well, thank you, Juliet.
Thank you,
sweetheart.
Thank you so much.
Well, first of all, I had to come out here and join you guys because you really seem like you were having a great time.
It was fun.
Yes,
Yes.
it was fascinating.
I just want to get into this reading right away and say, when you came here today, who were you hoping James would connect with?
Well, I was hoping that Annie, my aunt, my father's sister, would materialize because I've always felt very strongly that she's around me and is one of my guides. So it was lovely to.
She
hear
popped
from
in.
her.
Were
She
you
popped in.
close? Were you guys close?
Very close, and I look very, very like her. And my father was devoted to her, and I sound like her, and so it was nice to have her come in.
Yeah. It was very funny to me that James connected with Sir Laurence Olivier.
Yeah, I was very happy about that.
Yes, it was interesting that he came. My godmother was Vivian Lee, but I was brought up, my father and mother were best friends with both of them, and so I saw a lot of them as a child. But it was interesting that he came through, and he was always the one cracking the jokes. So I knew.
I was shocked about his personality. It was so funny. I mean, the jokes were coming left and right, and no one would know him like that.
No.
Okay. Now, were you hoping to hear from your co-star, Josh, today?
Yes, I was, yes. I mean, because it's so recent that he passed over, and I loved him, you know.
And we had a very weird thing just happen just now backstage because I asked about October 12th, and we said, and
Yes,
Julia says,
October 12th. I couldn't think what October 12th, but I knew that Josh's mother, Cheryl, had been to a seminar of James's in San Francisco, and it happened that it was
October
October
12th.
12th, and he said to, did anybody lose a son here? And she said yes, and he spoke to her about Josh, of course, without knowing who it was. So,
Now, have you ever been to a psychic before yourself?
I have, yes.
Really? Any paranormal experiences you can share with us?
Well, a few, which one says, oh, coincidence and all that. But the one thing that really proved to me that that my guides were watching me was my husband and I had been at an event in Los Angeles, and we were driving home to Santa Barbara. We were very tired, and he said to me, go to sleep, you relax, put your seat back. And I never go to sleep in the car. I'm always sort of driving with him, you know. And I sort of said, all right, so I lay back, went to sleep. And suddenly I felt I was asleep. I know I was, and I suddenly felt this shaking on my shoulder, and I opened my eyes, and I looked over at my husband, and his head was just falling forward onto the steering wheel, and he was falling asleep. And I woke him up, and, you know, we didn't speak. We stopped. We went to a coffee shop. We drank coffee. And I mean,
Well, James, you explained that. When something like that happens, can you...
Yeah, well, there are always guides, people around us looking out for us. And obviously, they came through to you to wake you up, to caution you.
yes,
Sure,
yes.
that happens a lot.
What is the best part for you about playing Tabitha?
Well, it's a wonderful part. I mean, it's, you know, to play a 300-year-old witch. You know, it's all about reincarnation and flashing back to other lives, all things that I really believe in anyway. She's a bit of a bad witch, but, you know.
She's a bad good girl.
She's a bad good girl. So it's just a wonderful part.
And
for
now
me.
I think you should have a medium on the show and, you know, just some other things.
You already have a job.
That's right.
What are you doing?
That's right, sorry.
Yes, you have to come on, James.
Wouldn't that
I'm
be
going
fun?
to. Oh,
Wouldn't that be
definitely.
great? Yeah, that'd be fun.
Well, everyone, you can catch Juliet on Passions on NBC 5 days a week. Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks,
you.
Juliet.
Next,
Okay. You should have stood up before when I asked about a wheelchair.
I was scared.
this woman is scared to death, but what could possibly be making her so afraid? The answers coming up on Beyond.
I know. I'm going to come over here with you, but I want to do that in a second because I'm getting pulled over here with you. But I want to also, there's a wheelchair, and I cannot stop. There's a wheelchair going back and forth here. Did you have a father that passed over, please? Yes. Okay.
He's my godfather.
Okay. Did you take care of him at one point at all when he was in a wheelchair?
Yes.
Okay, good. It's just the way of they're going to send through thoughts to communicate, and they have to do it their way. It doesn't fit into our physical way. So he gave me a condition of in a wheelchair. I swear to you, this is so weird. I was sitting here earlier, and I'm seeing a wheelchair going back and forth here, back and forth here. I'm like, who does this belong to? I don't know if your mother and father are separated in some way. Okay.
They're at home. They're together.
Okay. I want to talk about, there's a separation between your mother and your father he's talking about. I've got to go there with this because he will not leave it alone.
Yes.
So, you're standing up. Okay, this makes sense to you?
Yes, my father was in a wheelchair and he passed away, and my father and my mother are separated.
Okay. You should have stood up before when I asked about a wheelchair.
I was scared.
You're scared. You were scared. Come to the show wanting a reading and you're scared.
No. I was listening to his, and then it was more.
It's all yours.
Yeah,
It's all yours.
and I was like,
Good.
oh, no,
Hold on one
this
second.
is-
Let me get more for you, okay? Are there two sisters, please, in the family? Do you have another sister yourself? Or who has two
A
sisters?
half-sister.
You have a half-sister. Did he have two sisters, your father?
Yes.
Thank you. He's talking to me about him being a little bit judgmental, your father, and that he's realized now in spirit that he shouldn't have been that way. I don't know who, do you have a brother also at all? Or did he have a son?
Half-brothers. Half-brothers.
Two half-brothers, are there? Okay.
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. And those were related to him in some way, please?
Yes.
His sons?
Yes.
Okay. One of those sons, he had a hard time with one of them in a relationship or a marriage. Did
Yes.
not want one in that marriage, understand?
Yes.
Okay. I will tell you there's, you have two grandmothers in spirit, right?
Yes.
All right, because one is very domineering, one is very tough, and the other one's much sweeter than that one.
I didn't know one of them.
Okay. Well, which one did you know? The strong one, did you know?
The strong one I knew.
Yeah. No way to miss her. No way to miss her. And she just wants you to know that she's around, and she didn't believe necessarily in this sort of thing, but she does now. Who went away to school in another country or wanted to go to school in another country?
I did go to school in Japan
Okay.
on a military
okay.
school.
That's a different country. Right? You didn't know your grandfather, though. Didn't know the grandfather, I'm being told. The other side of the family? Did you not
On
know
my
the grandfather
dad's
on the other
side, I didn't know.
Thank you. Your father, he wants to know he forgives you. I hope that makes sense to you.
Yes.
Because part of the reason you came here to the show today was to ask for his forgiveness, and he said he forgives you.
Thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna leave you with that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
very much.
Sharon, I'm sitting here looking at you. I can tell you're absolutely blown away by all this. Am I
Yes,
right?
I am. Definitely.
Why?
Definitely. I came here, I'm a believer. I'm a firm believer, but...
Not a skeptic?
No, not at all. But my father was a preacher, and he always was, you die, you go to heaven. So I never expected my dad to be the first one to come through, you know, so it was something else.
Part of the reason you came here to the show today was to ask for his forgiveness, and he said he forgives you.
Being that my father was a preacher, my life was a different path, and I didn't always abide by what he wanted. You know, I didn't. He wanted me to be the preacher girl, and I ended up being the wild and crazy girl of the family, and you know, I just wanted him to forgive me for that.
You feel you let him down in some way?
Yes, I do.
How do you feel now?
Blessed, just blessed. I mean, I always knew that they were around, and I didn't expect to get red at all, but I was very blessed. I'm happy.
I'm so glad.
There's a closure.
Yay, thank you.
Thank you.
very much.
Lawrence Olivier, is he on that wall, please?
Yes.
Well, he's the one who's coming in to say hello.
Oh,
So Lawrence Olivier.
wow.
Oh my goodness, I love that reading. I love that Sir Lawrence Olivier showed up during your reading with
Wasn't that
Juliet Mills.
amazing? I was blown away by that. That was great. I've always been a big fan of his. I mean, that is the man. When I was growing up, that was...
Do you have a lot of celebrities who show up? You know, have you had one
You
in
know,
the
when
past?
they show up, it's always unexpected. I mean, I'll be doing a reading for someone and some celebrity comes in and there was a relationship these people had with them. So that's always fun. Liberace came through that way. And Judy Garland came through that way once. But this man goes, you know who Judy is? I said, no, I just got Judy. He goes, Judy Garland. I said, oh, okay. So they come through when I least suspect it.
Who were you reading when Julie Garland
It was a
showed
man
up?
who was a piano player, a musician that she worked with. And she talked about working with him in Boston once.
How about John Lennon, John F.
John
Kennedy?
Lennon has not come through. No, they haven't come through.
Is Elvis really dead?
Word has it Elvis is really dead. But don't tell anyone. Okay. Okay. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.